But we started off the weekend with a good note, at least for me. Tottenham collecting another loss again at the hands of Brentford. Harry Kane, though, yet again on the score sheet, it seems to be just a recurring pattern. Kane goal, Tottenham loss. What do they have to do now? Because we spoke about Kane before. Now, let's look at Tottenham. What do Tottenham have to do to turn this form around?
That is a not $1 million question. That's £1 billion question, and nobody's found an answer to that. Really, they've
Can
got a
anybody find an answer to that? Or is Kane the only answer to that, or the only potential answer?
well. Kane isn't the answer either. He's not done enough when Spurs have made it to those let's say close to the end points, and he just hasn't done enough either. And I'll tell Daniel Levy certainly isn't going to find an answer. He's been in charge for what, 2, 3 decades now, and Spurs have been the same. They are the only second side to score and concede 60 plus goals in a single season. The first
Of
team being Tottenham from 2007 and 2008.
course it would be. But you said Kane is not doing enough. What else can he do? The dog is scoring for them every single week.
Well, I mean, I was more speaking of the past when, famously they had a two-horse race that they ended up finishing in third with Leicester, as well as, you know, some FA Cup semi-finals sprinkled here and there, and most famously the Champions League final. I know he was hurt before that, so okay, maybe he shouldn't even have started. But I mean, you have to say he's not done enough in those crucial moments to get Tottenham over the line, right? So just 28 goals in this side is a great feat. He also breaks the record for the most games scored in a single Premier League season. That's 25 games that he scored in, 25 different games. So it's not like Holland where he scored like 4 or 5 hat tricks. He's scoring in almost every single game. I mean, that's crazy in itself. But I think they've just got to go to a full-on rebuild.
They might have to, honestly. Looking back on Kane again, bro, I think it's coming up to the point where I'm just, if he continues in this fashion, I'm really just looking at him like you're an excellent player. You can't take that away from him at all, even as an Arsenal fan. But this guy is not a champion. He's just simply not a winner at this point because you could argue and say, oh, but he's scoring X amount of goals. If he was a winner, he'd be out of there from a long time. So he's not, to me, Kane is a great player, but he's not a winner.
And that's partly why I mean, I've made it no secret that I want us to sign him, but that's partly why I'm kind of, I mean, take out the negotiations and the price that he will cost aside, just of his, like you said, he doesn't seem to be. At least he hasn't proven it, right? To be a winner, to be a champion, and great, he'll get you 30 goals, but will he actually perform when it actually matters in the crunch time, and those moments where you actually need your striker to step up? Maybe not. But maybe we're looking at it in this way because Tottenham just haven't been in that situation as much as a team with a striker like Harry Kane should be in, perhaps.
Maybe so. Maybe so. But I still gonna at this point because it's gone on for this long, it's not like he hasn't had opportunities to move where he can move to and make decisions how he wants to. That's why I'm saying that he's not truly a winner or a champion. And if I'm looking on it from your perspective, would you even want somebody like Harry Kane in your team who's just clearly not a champion, clearly not a winner to lead your front line?
That's the only worry, but I don't think it's fair to say it's clearly not a winner. He hasn't shown it yet. I'll give you that. He hasn't shown it yet.
The man is 30, bro. When is he going to show it then?
Well, Van Persie was 30 when he joined us, and he won us the league. So
So maybe it could be then. Maybe that's what you're looking at, to be honest. So then who are you, if we're gonna compare those two strikers, that's a good comparison right there. Harry Kane or Van Persie, who would you take?
I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's got to be Harry Kane. Van Persie was injured half the season, bar those 2 seasons, right? Right. That his last season at Arsenal, where he scored 30 goals in the league, I think, and then he came to us and he scored 26 league goals. Bar those 2 seasons, he was always injured. He's always had quality, right? And that's what that's why Arsene Wenger trusted in him so much, right? Oftentimes he got injured and he destroyed your summer transfer plans, even winter transfer plans. But because he had that quality in him, I feel like at their peak, Van Persie could probably be higher than Kane. But off the basis of what they've shown throughout their career, I mean, they're virtually at the same stage. Van Persie had not won anything before he joined us at Arsenal. Same thing with Harry Kane. But the only difference is Harry Kane, I mean, he's a proven goal scorer.
And he's always available, as you say. Availability is the best ability. Speaking of availability, a man on your side who has not been ever so available, Casemiro coming with the goods. He was available today.
Not due to injuries, but yes.
Yeah, but still, it's still availability is the best ability, and his availability today proved crucial.
Yeah, and again, I think it's just the second game in a row where our opponents seem to be, like you said, already just wanting to coast through the games.
Yeah, and you guessed 3-1 that I was angry at because I went ahead and put 3-1 in my bet slip because of that, and it didn't come to fruition. Man United, no, with this and another good defensive performance, does this result secure that top four spot for Man U?
It should have, but not officially, right? But of course, I have no doubts that we'll be in the Champions League next season, along with Newcastle. Both Newcastle and United just need 1 point out of their next 2 games, and they both play. Funnily enough, they both play Chelsea. So
That's actually hilarious. And those two Champions League spots, those two final Champions League spots, are at the expense of Liverpool, who were held to a 1-1 draw against Unai Emery's Aston Villa. Wow, I was definitely not expecting this.
yeah, I was not. When I saw I watched both games at once. Since Villa got the penalty, I got a notification that Villa have been awarded a penalty, and I was like, oh damn. I mean, our game was. I knew it was going to be one of those games, which was slow. It was easy, a bit boring at times. Game. Whereas that Liverpool Villa game, it was feisty. So
Yeah, and a lot of the ref decisions as well, as you mentioned, were big controversies. There was a big VAR controversy with the Gakpo goal. Do you feel like Liverpool were left justified there, or do you feel like that wasn't a fair call?
the offside, I mean, I guess it's how you interpret it, right? But I guess the VAR and the referee interpreted that touch as simply a block. So if that's how they decided to interpret it, I think it's a bit harsh. I mean, he sticks his foot out, trying to clear, and it just goes the wrong way. That's a deliberate attempt to play the ball to me, and I'm not complaining, but what I want to focus on is the yellow card for Tyrone Mings, and that should have been a red, But like I always say, things always even out throughout the season. If you remember 2 weeks ago, Jota should have been sent off against Tottenham for a very similar challenge on skip, where his high foot was, I mean, it hit Skip's face and in his head, right? He should have been sent off. He didn't. He went on to score the winner. Tyrone Mings arguably probably should have been sent off. He didn't. He had a great game today. I have to give him credit because I don't rate him as much, but he did. He had a great game today, except he lost Firmino for that equalizer. But I mean, that can happen to defenders. You know, you just lose for a split second. You just lose that focus and that.
And that's
Uh,
what Firmino is so good at, just so clever, finding those little areas, those gaps, those pockets. He's just so nifty, and he came up with the goods today. And what a way to do it! I mean, it was just kind of written in the stars to an extent because they didn't get the win. But Firmino, in his final appearance at Anfield, to get the all-important equalizer, we'll see how important that goal will end up being. But as you said, it's looking like Liverpool are going to be playing Europa League football next season.
yeah, it's probably just a consolation goal, a feel good goal for Firmino and the fans. Um, Martinelli is on 15 Premier League goals. Is the record actually for a Brazilian in the Premier League.
Yeah, and he probably could have gotten more if Caicedo never injured his clot.
Well,
And by the way, got away with nothing.
well, looking at your performances today, maybe not. But would you say Firmino is? I mean, I'm surprised that not more Brazilians have graced the Premier League. But would you say Firmino is the best Brazilian player in the Premier League history?
I mean, he's up there, but I don't think. I guess if we're looking on the Premier League, just the Premier League itself,
Yeah, just the Premier League.
like just their performances in the Premier League.
There isn't much.
No,
There's
no,
no. Yeah, I mean, there's no
he's not.
Ronaldo's. He's
There
not.
isn't.
Well,
But I don't. I mean, the reason I'm saying that is his Liverpool compatriot in the form of Alisson. I think he has to get a shot as well. I know we don't like looking at keepers, but he's outstanding and he's been consistent ever since he's been there. I know Firmino is gonna get the praise, he's gonna get the credit as the striker, as the creative guy, but Alisson has been he's been flawless since he's been in. And let's not forget that incredible goal that he scored against West Brom in the last minute. I think Alisson could be a shout for the best Brazilian to ever grace the Premier League.
well, yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody looks at keepers when we talk about greatest players to ever grace the field. But speaking of Brazil, their arch rivals, Argentina, Alexis McAllister, reports coming out today that he is close to joining Liverpool for £70 million. What do you think of that signing for Liverpool?
Well, if everything comes through and the deal does get finalized, I think it would be a welcome addition to the Liverpool squad. I think they've drastically needed some midfield reinforcements, especially technical ones. Somebody who's of good ball quality, who can create, make things happen, dictate the play. I think we've been missing that from Liverpool this season. Maybe Thiago could have been that. We know he had injury problems, but I see Thiago more as a deep line as opposed to McAllister can more create in the final third and create more danger there. So I think it'd be a welcome addition. It would add some balance to their attacking line. So if they can pull that off, I know it'll be expensive, but hey, I mean, that's the price for players nowadays, and that's a World Cup winner you're looking at. So I think it's a win-win for both parties if it comes through.
Yeah, uh, I still think he's better with a player like Caicedo next to him, and Liverpool don't really have that. I mean, unless they sign Caicedo as well, they
Or
probably
Fabinho.
won't.
Fabinho could kind of be that.
I mean, Fabinho's washed. He just is
I
nowhere
don't know
near
if
the
he's
level of
washed.
Caicedo.
Washed. It's harsh, but I guess he's not his normal self. But washed? I don't. That's so harsh to me. What do
I
you
think,
think? Do you think that Fabinho is washed, or do you think Fabinho still has something to prove in the Premier League? Let us know in the comments.
but enough of Liverpool. And I hate to break it to you, but listeners, you probably would have guessed. I mean, you guys all know what happened, but that there's a reason why his voice is on the downside today, because his dream has officially been shattered by his own team, not by City, but his own team.
And it's funny because last week and these past few weeks, I've been saying I'm so proud of how the team has performed this season. And I'm still proud of how we've performed over the course of the whole season. But the way we bowed out today was so disgraceful. I can't lie. We showed no fight for a team that is fighting for a title. We don't deserve to win the title. Like, let's be real here. We don't. We're not ready for it. It's simply we're not ready for it. We can't go out there and be playing this stagnant football. It was just too slow. We had Odegaard on the right all the time. We knew exactly what was gonna happen. The first half, it was just everything down the right. Xhaka, it's like we never trusted Xhaka at all on the left side. We didn't give him the ball at all. And then of course we had Kiowar as centre back playing left back. So again, less reason to move the ball over to one side. And that just made it easy for Nottingham Forest to know, okay, we're just gonna squeeze you on the right side. Done. And that to me is just, I know we have injuries, but it's just disgraceful. We have to switch it up. We had to go all in and roll the dice, but we didn't. And that to me as a fan is frustrating. But as I say, over the course of the season, it's been a very proud season for Arsenal and for Arsenal fans. And I think we can use that to springboard us next season, given we get reinforcements, and we can use this as a learning experience, and it can propel us potentially next season. But then there's the worries of, is it just same old Arsenal? Will same old Arsenal come back again next season? Bottle the Champions League last season, bottle the title this season. Are we just gonna continue bottling?
Wait. So you're officially admitting that you bottled it,
It's
the
a
title.
bottle. It's a bottle because of the way that it happened. We let that go. Like, we let it go completely. We had the lead. We had the lead. I know that our initial goal was Champions League football, which we accomplished. But when you're in a position like that and you let it go like that, that's where you have to call it a battle. You cannot drop points against Southampton at home, West Ham, Liverpool from a 2-goal lead, back to back to back, and then drop points against Nottingham Forest, and then drop points against Brighton at home. That's a battle to me.
Well, I mean, what's so baffling to me is for a team that was so good until what, March? I mean, you guys rode your luck a little bit, but any title winning side is going to have that. For that team to then pretty much hand the title on a silver platter to Man City, I don't think I've ever seen this before. So I
That's where it's
mean,
disgraceful. It's not like we made them work for it. That's what I feel. I feel like we didn't make them work for it. I feel like we just handed it to them.
yeah, I mean, exactly. So I mean, is your worry? I mean, this this poor run of form, poor run of games to finish off the seasons. Is your worry meter still pretty low?
Worry meter, as in for what? For next season?
Yeah, because oftentimes this can carry on to the next season.
Like I said, I think we can learn from it and use it to propel ourselves. But then there's the other side of me saying, there's one side of my shoulder saying, yo, Arsenal can learn from this. We can bounce back. And then there's this side of my shoulder saying, yep, we'll bottle it again. Same old Arsenal. We're going to keep doing this. We're going to give you hope, and we're going to shatter the hopes. So there's just no telling. That's what Arsenal do. There's no telling. One week is we're incredible. The next week is we've flopped it.
I mean, to be honest, I'm only saying this because now it's looking like, I mean, if City win all their games in hand, Arsenal will be 10 points behind. Right? I mean, that's not even a history. You will look back at the season and nobody will remember. I mean, you did for the first half and until March of the season, but I mean, at the end of the day, nobody's going to look at the table and say Arsenal gave City a proper fight. the way the season's heading. I mean, if you're finishing 10 points off the first place, I mean, there was no challenge, simple as, right? So, and this is just, I'm saying this because it's eerily reminding me of, and I mean, I love to make analogies, but if you remember, we went off to a great start in Mourinho's second season. Of course, we came like 20 points short of City, but then we pretty much hobbled to the finish line towards the end of the season. You know, we lost to Brighton. We I think we lost our last two games. We lost to West Brom to give City the title at home after beating City at the Etihad, and then lost the FA Cup final. And then we all know what happened the next season. Mourinho got sacked. We came in sixth. So I don't know. I just feel that I don't think you should take this so lightly. I mean, this can.
I'm definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. I mean, I just don't. It's very shocking how the season ended for a very good side. Arsenal are a very good side, and they have been. But I don't know. I mean, what do you think about Xhaka possibly leaving Arsenal at the end of the season too?
I've always had the opinion that I think Xhaka has had an incredible season. I give him full praise for that, full credit for that. But I've always wanted him more as a backup player or like a bench player to come into the rotation to help see out matches, to fill in for somebody if they're injured. But as I said today was a perfect example of what we need to improve on. And Xhaka's role is one of those areas. He's simply not technical or dynamic enough to do that role fully for us. He had a great season. He filled in the role very professionally, as we would expect of him, because he is such a professional player, at least nowadays. But he's not enough for what we need. There's a huge difference in that technical quality from Gundogan, who we always talk about, and somebody like Xhaka. And it's those little detailed moments. If you watch the games closely and you see that little turn that Gundogan is able to do, that little touch or that little control that just buys you that yard or just keeps your team with possession of the ball, it makes all the difference. Or just to help it on. Remember the goal Man City scored against us with Grealish, and Gundogan just helped it on one more. That little bit of awareness, that little bit of technical quality to just help it on one more into the right area. I've seen many moments this season where Xhaka has gotten into that moment and takes a heavy touch, ends up forcing a 50-50, and he has to slide tackle to try win it back, or he'll slip, or sometimes. And I feel bad because I sound like I'm just bashing on him, but I don't want to bash on him because I think he's done so well for us, and I'm grateful for what he's provided us for the season. But you can't. It's just that we just need that technical quality there. I'm sorry he doesn't have it, but you just don't have it, bro. Sorry, like you're just not it, bro. Like me, I wish I had it. I don't have it, bro. I just don't. So I'm not gonna go on there. I'm not gonna go on the field. You know what I'm saying? It's not to say you're a bad person or you didn't give it your all. You did, and we respect that. But we need a bit more. Who do I want? Dominic Soboslai, bro. I've been saying that for a long time. This guy is who I would like us to sign in replacement for Xhaka.
Well, the thing is, not only is Xhaka apparently, I mean, I don't know, but from the reports, a great leader, someone that players look up to in the dressing room. But you have to remember, it took a long time for both the player and the manager to find the right role for him in this system. So it comes down to, are you going to bring in someone, or you're going to try to fit him into a similar role? Because it's not an easy job that Jacques has done this season, right? In that position, in that role. Or, I mean, is Arteta going to change up his system to fit in a different player? And we just never know how that's going to go, right? So I think there's just a bit of risk there. Of course, if the player wants to go, what can you do, right? It's for a player who was almost, I mean, that incident against Palace is infamous still. For him to come back from that to this, of course, and a lot of Arsenal fans talk about that redemption arc is complete and maybe it is time to go. For me, if I were an Arsenal fan, I would be very wary of him leaving the club at the end of the season, whether he's technically good enough or not. The role suits him, and the system worked very well, and it's going to be very hard to replace him.
It is. I'm not saying no, but I think I hear you on the role fits him because I think he gets the best out of him. But I think for the best for the team, I think he needs a bit more technical quality. I think we need somebody with a bit more technical quality to play that role. He does have the box to box mindset. He does have the athleticism. He has the grit. He's a hard, rough tackling player, ball winning midfielder, and I think he's versatile in that area. So that helps us a lot. He's a player who can be experienced and add that level of assurity in the midfield. I think if you get someone like this, or who at least can grow into that with the technical side, I think that's gonna be the perfect person for that role. That technical part is so crucial because, as you say, it's those little details that keep your team in front, that keep your team on the front foot, and that's where I think the key is. That's kind of like what Saliba was bringing for us. He was bringing that calmness, that ability to almost allow an extra player forward, and for us to keep on the pressure, keep in possession of the ball, allowed us to build that pressure. It changes the momentum of the game so much, and you could see the impact when Saliba left. I think one more CM that can kind of give us that feel as well will push us into the difference for a full starting 11 side ready to go for next season. It's crucial. That technical part is very crucial.
Yeah, I mean, it probably won't be Gundogan, and he's probably off to Barcelona. Haven't seen any links yet for that type of midfielder for Arsenal. Heavy links to Declan Rice, but not so much.
He could play the role too.
He's probably better suited for the party role,
Yeah.
uh, but I
But
mean,
he still can. He still can is the point.
but then I just I don't view Declan Rice as that player, but we'll talk more, of course, on the transfers as I mean the season's pretty much been wrapped up. Title is decided. I will not say the C word to the City team. You'll
Yeah, but
find it.
even before you even get into that though, I want to hear it from you. You tell us what you think in the comments if Declan Rice is best suited as a sitting defensive midfielder or a box to box midfielder.
Yeah. So having that said, the pod will be taking a week off on the last match week of the season. We do not expect neither Man United nor Newcastle to drop all 6 points in their next two games. So the pod will be taking a week off. We'll be coming back in the midweek after that with a season review. The season that's left such a bitter taste in Noah's mouth, but we've got to review. It was at the end of the day, it was overall a positive season for both our teams. Knock on wood, barring a total capitulation. But going back to the question that I asked you guys, now with this season turning out how it's expected to turn out, do you think Man United had a better season than Arsenal? Let us know in the comments below.
Well, Oil still have to play you guys in the FA Cup, so we still have to wait.
Well, either way, we already have a trophy in the bag. But that FA Cup final is the biggest final we've probably ever played in. Maybe that's a push, but one of the biggest, if not. I mean, it's on par with the Champions League finals, probably. So
Yeah, we'll see about that. But I mean, Oil are still gonna want it nonetheless. Like they're gonna want this more than anything. So they're gonna be up for the fight.
yeah, I mean, what I'm hoping is, I mean, they're gonna have 2 weeks of pretty much, I guess you call it rest. Sometimes that can do bad for your momentum. I mean, they all obviously have momentum, but at that moment you kind of want to keep going. But with the league already wrapped up, they have 3 games still to go through. That momentum could be kind of lost heading into 2 finals.
Yep. You better hope Oil loses their momentum before it.
I love how you're not even referring to them as the actual names.
Or you mean Oil?
Next season, I mean, it's got to be anyone but them. So you and I are gonna have the same goal. Take them down next season.
I
So
think everybody has that goal at this point.
yeah, I cannot have them eclipse the three-peat and go four-peat. So
That's all we have time for today. Guys, thanks for tuning in as always. We hope you enjoyed your time with us. Remember to subscribe, to leave comments, and share with your friends. Follow us on social media at FOTBpod. Don't forget to leave a review, rating, and most importantly, don't forget to turn on those notifications. Join us again next time as we discuss the highly anticipated upcoming Premier League action. Thanks again as always. See you then.